Hi everyone, I'm Evangeline right here at eTrailer. Since every bike rack fits every vehicle or motorhome differently, today we're focusing in on how the Hollywood Racks RV Rider fits on our 2020 Tiffin Wayfarer. Now with this bike rack, it's very popular for RVs and motorhomes because it has a really high weight capacity and is very sturdy. However, when we're looking at different clearances and distances and things like that, there are some things to keep in mind to make sure you have the best fit for you and your bikes. Let's get started. The main thing with motorhomes that I always look at is how close does it actually get to the motorhome. In the case of our Tiffin Wayfarer and my mountain bike here, the handlebars do sit pretty far and actually make contact with the motorhome. So I put a shop towel here between the handlebar and the Wayfarer. You'll notice that if this moves around, there will be contact. So for those situations, I recommend 1, double checking the length of your handlebars. Mine are 29 inches long. And 2, if you could possibly minimize that friction with a towel or a pool noodle, things like that, that might be helpful for you in the long run. Also double check the weight of your bikes and if you can remove the battery or not. So this has an 80-pound weight capacity, which is very impressive because that's a lot of weight on this rack. You do have to think about how you are going to lift your bike up onto this rack though. There is no ramp or anything like that. What I've seen a lot of people do is they get that front wheel on there and they just kind of muscle up the rear wheel onto the cradles. It can be a little tricky the first time, but some people have perfected the way that they get their bikes on there. So that's something to be mindful of, especially considering that this rack to the ground sits about 26 inches. So you will have to lift a little over 2 feet. How's our bike loaded up? Well, we have 3 touch points. 1 and 2 are going to be on the wheels. With that large loop or hoop design, we have a really good fit around the wheel, plus we have these straps that go up over the rim and tighten down. Now those hoops are adjustable for your different types of bikes. If you have, let's say, a tire that's smaller than 24 inches in diameter, there's different adapters for smaller tires, things like that. Now this is a frame mounted rack, meaning it has a hook that secures to your frame. And that's what makes this a little tricky because your bike has to be a specific distance away from the rack, which pushes it a little bit closer to the motorhome. The frame mount is lockable though, so you don't have to deal with any chains. I currently have the knob in the unlock position, which means that as I turn this knob, it's actually loosening up on the clamp that's secured around my frame. So once we have that fully loose, I'll then be able to pivot this hook up and then out. If I needed to adjust for height up and down, you push in on that knob and then that allows me to bring this up and away from the bike. Here's the special tip for those that do have those heavier bikes. And it's actually explained in the instructions that you can load your bike up and then move the mast into place later. And that might be helpful for those heavier bikes. Now, I'm loosening this knob, and then I'm taking this out. I'm grabbing the flat washer and the split washer so I don't lose it. And now coming up to our bike, what I do is I just hold on to it so it doesn't fall. We can then pivot this mast down and away. So for this to work best, you do need to plan out the location of your pedals so they're not in the way of the mast as it goes down. And that makes for slightly less height that you need to lift your heavier bike up and over to get this onto the ground. Now, if I'm driving around without bikes on, I actually just go ahead and leave the rack in this position. On its own, it's pretty compact and you could technically fold this up, but it would require removing that bolt and that pin. So that's just something that I recommend people doing when they have their motorhome parked during the off season and they really want to minimize the space that they are taking up. with that in mind, this is going to be a really sturdy bike rack. This stays on there, can handle the elements, has locks that keep it secured into the hitch receiver. I like how it fits on this motorhome if I had, let's say, shorter handlebars. Other than that, hopefully this video was helpful for just seeing just the different clearances, how the bikes sit on the rack, and the tips and tricks for getting the bike loaded was helpful for you. If you are looking for some things that might be a little easier, we do have plenty of RV rated bike racks with ramps. So if you're looking at that, check that out here at eTrailer. Give us a call, and we love helping people get sorted out for the best fits for their adventures. But today, what you saw was a look at how the Hollywood Racks RV Rider fits on the 2020 Tiffin Wayfarer Motorhome.